Good morning on day 10. It is 8 o'clock, almost 8. I just rolled out of camp, and it's hard to see on the camera, but there's a thick layer of mist over the river, so I'm trying to just go slow. I know there's a lot of shoals in this area and I can't really see much of what's going on the river because of the mist. So the sun's coming up, so hoping it's burned off pretty quickly, but because I didn't want to wait any longer, that's why I waited till 8 already instead of leaving at 7:15. It is 43 degrees, got down to about 40 last night, I think. Yeah, I've got 20 miles today to get to Branford, so I'm pretty excited to get there. My parents will meet me there, and I will get a good meal, hot shower, in a warm bathroom, a bed to sleep in, and I'll wait out the thunderstorms that are coming in tomorrow. So yeah, 20 miles today, 0 tomorrow for the thunderstorms, and then get back on the river on Monday. So I really want to get to Branford as fast as I can, but just taking it nice and slow until this mist gets burned off the river so I don't get myself into a tricky situation. Last night I stayed at Peacock Slough River Camp, and it was very nice. The camp host and hostess were Jim and Jeannie. They were very nice. Camp was very nice, well kept, very clean. There were a couple of people that stayed in the shelter next to me, and they weren't like extremely loud, but they didn't start. They started a fire and I think started cooking their dinner after dark, which is when I'm usually pretty much just tucking in bed. And I understand it's still early. It was only like 6 something, so that was fine. But they started playing music, and they weren't like particularly loud, but they weren't like trying to be quiet with their cooking and pots and pans and stuff. And then a little bit later, maybe like after 9, is when they went, I guess, to go to the bathroom to do all their nighttime stuff. And they were, I don't know what they were doing in there, but it was loud. Like the stall doors kept slamming. I think they were in the same bathroom, which, whatever. If I was in the middle of nowhere, I might do that too, but anyway, it was kind of loud at that point. And then there were dogs barking all night, and I'm telling you what, somebody needs to tell the roosters out here that they don't need to cock-a-doodle-doo until the actual morning, because they got this bad habit of cock-a-doodle-doing it all night long. So all night long, dogs barking and roosters crowing all night. But oh man, it is really hard to see out here. I've been having a hard time sleeping lately because my hips are hurting so bad on the ground. And so last night I tried something different. I have an inflatable pillow, and I deflated it to about maybe a quarter of the way and just put that under my hip. And that actually made a huge difference. So I think I was able to sleep a little bit more last night than usual because of that. It just kind of took some of the pressure off my hip. And then I could sleep on my stomach a little bit more because it took the pressure off of my hips when I was on my stomach. So that was good to feel like I got a little bit more rest. Anyway, this mist is just insanely bright and thick, so I gotta figure something out here. But yep, Branford, here we come, day 10. So here's a cool swing bridge, and I'm gonna try to remember the history of it. I believe it was built in 1901, maybe, by I believe a timber company, so that they could swing it for the trains carrying the timber, and then swing it in the open position so boats could get through. I think it was abandoned in maybe like 1918 or something, and now it just kind of hangs out in the open position permanently. So there it is, pretty cool. The spring is literally coming out of the ground right in front of me. Like, there's no spring run, this is it. It's just springing out of the ground right on the side of the river and pouring into the river. Just stopped at Troy Springs State Park. There's my boat down there. Take a little break for lunch. It's a beautiful day. There's the spring. There's some divers up in there. Still clear, but some mucky buildup just because everything's so low. It's almost 1 o'clock. I'm still just cruising down the river. I just pulled over at Little Springs to check it out, and I pulled up on the little beach area, and as I was getting ready to leave, I saw a boat, like a speedboat, not going fast, but a speedboat nonetheless, big boat, coming up the river. So I was gonna let them pass before I went out, but it looks like they were trying to come in where my kayak was. So I went ahead and moved my kayak, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't run you off, did we?" I said, "No, I was waiting for you to pass, but since you're coming up in here, I gotta get going." So, you know, thinking they're obviously locals, right? They're in their boat coming up to rando Little Spring on Swanee River. I said, "So do you know if there's any like shoals ahead or anything?" You know, just general conditions. Obviously they couldn't go through them with their boat, so however far they came, there aren't any. But I said, "Do you know if there's any shoals ahead or anything?" They laughed at me. I said, "Oh no." They were like, "Not in that thing." I was like, "Oh no, like I've been through a lot." And they're like, "Yeah, I bet. So anyway, they laughed at me, but that means there must not be any, and I'll take it. So I've got I think like 6 or 7 miles to Branford, and if there's no shoals and it's clear sailing for a speedboat, I'm happy about that. I am tired of these shoals and rapids. But anyway, I thought that was funny. They laughed at me, and I hope when they get home and they get to talking to their friends, somebody tells them, no, for real, there really are rapids and shoals on the river right now. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. Just thought I'd tell you a funny story. Danger. Jumping sturgeon. Made it to Branford. The boat ramp is just ahead, and I'm pretty sure that's my parents standing on it. So I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'm almost there, and there's guaranteed no rapids between here and there, so I'm pretty excited.